Okay, here we are again. Welcome to the Paq-Man's Corner. This time we open with a beautiful piece written by my partner, Juanito Ruiz, wonderful clarinet player, saxophone player, and our coordinator and producer of the Paq-Man's Corner. Juanito, qué linda pieza. That's a Lulu piece that you wrote. When did you write that?
I wrote it about June, I think, and I just wrote a piece for Lulu.
Lulu, for those of you that don't know who Lulu is, Lulu is a wonderful female cat that Juanito has at home. Animals are so inspired, you know. People that don't love animals, they don't know what they are missing. You know?
Exactly, and I think Paquito, for me, when the pandemic started, I felt very good next to Lulu. I felt like she was a very good presence, and I'm sure you felt the same with all the pets you had before.
Oh yes. Unfortunately, during this pandemic, my very dear cat Miguelito died. He was very old, but well, he gave us so many years of friendship and love, and he was very funny too. Well, you knew Miguelito.
I met Miguelito, and last year when I was working digitizing all your music, Paquito. I think you were on tour in Spain and Europe, and he will come and just ask me to pet him. Every day he'll do that, and then he will eat my arepa.
He didn't talk too much, but when he said meow, because he's hungry, he wants some food.
Yes, very, very loving cat. I love Miguelito, and he was so wonderful with everybody.
Yeah.
Paquito, do you know that Ravel loved cats?
No kidding. He loves cats too.
Yes.
A
And,
smart
and even,
person.
and even in one of that's why I wanted to include the voice of my cat in my piece, because in the only opera he wrote, he puts the singers to sing like a cat.
Wow, isn't that great? I didn't know that one.
Yeah, apparently he really, and he was surrounded by cats all the time.
Oh, isn't that great? Uh, Cats and animals in general are great inspiration for musicians. You know that a few composers have been inspired by animals, like Camille Saint-Saëns, who wrote the Carnival of the Animals, and and so many others. Painters and poets have been inspired by animals, and I feel inspired to use your piece in our show, because first of all, because it's fantastic. It's a beautiful waltz, very sweet and all that. Again, the work of Diana playing the bass clarinet, as always, was beautiful. And I love the piece because of the musically, and also because it's inspired by an animal that is so inspiring for all of us. So
And
congratulations.
we have this clarinetist from Cuba, Flavia, who's playing also on the piece.
She can play, huh?
She can play. Yeah, she plays very well.
Oh yeah. I met Flavia a couple of years ago. They came here with the Cuban Orquesta Sinfónica Nacional, and I went to see them. And they have like three more ladies playing clarinet. They are very good players too. Very fine orchestra. And now I think she moved to Seville or something, to Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard her playing, in the internet. And I think it was through you that you played some stuff that she played, and we decided to include her in this Paq-Man's Corner, because she's really a wonderful player. So welcome, Flavia. Thank you to playing with us. Okay, that was chorino, whatever that means. I don't know. I don't know what is that. But chorino is a very wonderful, cute piece that Flavia sent us. It's a composition by Chucho Valdez, and it's inspired by Brazilian chorinho, the music of Rio de Janeiro. People like Pichinguinha and Jacob do Bandolim and Chiquinha de Abreu used to write. And it's a very cute piece. It's a combination of a Brazilian choro and a Cuban contradanza, you know. You can feel that Cuban feeling there. Well, we Brazilians and Cuban, we all eat black beans and rice. So we are our cultures are very close. And Chucho was a great influence in my career. I met Chucho when I was a kid. I remember the first time I heard him playing. Chucho Valdez is the son of the great Bebo Valdez, the great Cuban pianist who died a couple of years ago in Stockholm, Sweden. Chucho, when I met him, he was very young too. He's a little older than me, like 7 years older. And another pianist called Samuel Telles. He took me to a jam session and we prepared a couple of pieces about that. And the first act before us was this young, tall, black guy playing the piano like Oscar Peterson. And I say like Oscar Peterson because Chucho's first inspiration was Oscar Peterson. And he used to copy him. That is not easy task. Copying Oscar Peterson. That is not easy to do, you know. You can try to copy me playing the flute or something like that, but copying off Oscar Peterson is something out of this world. And that was the beginning of a great friendship. We coincided in the Teatro Musical de La Habana. He was the pianist there. And I learned so much from Chucho. It was very special for me. The first commercial recording that I ever did in my life was with Chucho. And we recorded the piece called Mambo Influenciado. Mambo Influenciado today, well, it became what you call a Latin jazz standard. Everybody knows that piece. And I remember that once I was in Canada and they were buying music for some reason for a TV show. So they were paying for originals. But I wanted to play Mambo Influenciado. I wanted to play that. But I said, but I need the money. So what can I do? You know what I do? What I did? I used that wonderful harmonic path of Mambo Influenciado. But I love the sound, the harmony way that Chucho used there. And I said, but I need the money. And I like this harmonic sequence. So what I did, I construct another melody on top of Chucho's harmony. Then I did like. You know, the best thing you can do when you want to steal a piece from a composer and get away with it, you steal the piece and then you dedicate it to him. So I call the piece Chucho.
Paquito, you know, they call this kind of thing at Berkeley, they call it contrafact. And I'm just curious, who started that in Cuba? Who was one of the first who stole a jazz standard and made a Cuban melody on top of it?
Oh, I don't know. Chucho did it with the piece. I didn't record it, the piece, but Chucho did it with Estela va a estallar. For those of you who don't speak Spanish, estallar is to explode, explotar. And Estela is a woman. Estela va a explotar. Estela va a estallar. Estela is going to explode. So I call it Estela va a estallar because we love playing that standard. Stella by Starlight.
So you played the piece?
No, I never played it, but he recorded with Irakere later on.
Okay, yeah.
Carlos Averoff was in the group, and I don't know who else. But it's a wonderful. It's a common practice in the bebop world. You know, for example, Donna Lee is Indiana. That's what it is. There is many pieces, and the fascinating rhythm is one of the most used. It's what you call rhythm changes. It's very common, you know, especially in the bebop, from the bebop period on. So this is my story with Chucho and this beautiful Chorino. I don't know why he called it Chorino, but well, we have to wait on his playing. But it's a beautiful piece of music. Huapango. The Huapango is inspired in the Mexican Huapango, which is with H. And the most famous Huapango was written by Juan Pablo Moncayo. It's a monumental piece. You know, like all those monumentalist painters from Mexico and the pyramids and all that. Juan Pablo Moncayo. So I wrote a Huapango with W. I wrote it with the W to make it different from the great Moncayo piece, and also because I was inspired by that rhythm, that Mexican rhythm, and also I mixed it with the Carlos Emilio Morales, the wonderful Cuban guitarist with Irakere and all that. He was trying a new pedal that he had, the wah-wah pedal, wow. One of the wah-wah pedals. You see, hey, Carlos Emilio, you got a wah-wah pedal. He said, yeah, but I don't like it. But well, he had to use it. And that wah-wah pedal was first used in our famous piece, Bacalao con Pan. Okay, so we recorded with that. And then he wrote this piece called Huapango, which is like a Mexican Huapango with a wah-wah effect. And it ended up being premiered by Carlos Averoff Saxophone Quartet. Carlito formed this wonderful quartet inspired in my father's Conjunto Sinfónico de Saxofones, and also by the quartet led by Marcel Muir in the Paris Conservatory. And I wrote this for the saxophone quartet, and Carlito Averoff premiered in El Palacio de Bellas Artes in 1970 was that.
So Paquito, were you part of that quartet?
Not really. The alto player in the quartet was a saxophone virtuoso by the name of Miguel Villafruela. He lived for many years in Chile. He's a teacher there, a saxophone teacher there. A baritone is called Almeida, he played the baritone. I don't know where he's now. El Chino Lang, the most beautiful tenor sound in Cuba, playing the tenor, and Carlitos Averó playing the soprano saxophone. They premiered my piece, Huapango, together with another piece that I wrote for them also, called Elegy to Eric Dolphy, too. And a couple of other pieces that I wrote for Carlitos.
Paquito, and I have a curious question. I've seen pictures of Tito Quartet, and I just wonder, did Tito ever play some of your music?
I don't think my father never played my own composition because I didn't compose too much when I was in Cuba. I was more of a player. But he copied my first commission, Habanera. That was commissioned by a friend of mine, two ladies, two girls that worked with me in the las hermanas Larín. Say, you should write something for the Concierto Relámpago, the Thunder Concert, they call it, in the conservatory. Then I wrote this piece for three clarinets, La Habanera. Was inspired by Maurice Ravel, to be more exact, more precise, by Ravel's Habanera. A beautiful piece that he wrote. I was very, very influenced, and I am very influenced by Maurice Ravel. So my father copied the piece for me as a surprise. He saw the score and then when I woke up next morning, I saw the manuscript. Still I have that manuscript. So this is my tribute to Carlitos Averó. And to people who love animals, and to the Mexican musicians too, in my Huapango. Johann Sebastian Bach have been one of my main and earlier influences in my career. As a composer, as a player, as everything. Bach, I don't remember who said once that Bach wrote everything. And from the time of the bebop era, there was a tendency and a style of writing music called the contrafact, that is writing different melodies on standards, well-known melodies. For example, Donna Lee is based on Indiana. Coco is based on Cherokee. And Anthropology. That is How High the Moon. Well, this is my contrafact on my very admired Johann Sebastian Bach. This is my Baxophones. The Elephant and the Clown, El Elefante y el Payaso. This is a piece that is very close to my heart. Because first of all, I love animals. And as a kid, I used to perform with a trio of clowns. Spanish clowns who moved to Havana in the 40s or 50s or something like that. And three of the clowns that play instruments and all that. I was so happy. The name of the three was Gaby, Fofo, y Miliki, los hermanos Aragón. So Fofo was a prankster. I don't know how he did it, hid the elephant from the trainer. And the trainer could not find it. Where is my elephant? And then Fofo said, we have to go to the police station, to denounce the robbery. I said, okay. Then we went there, and then the guy who was in charge was a captain or something. I said, what happened to you? I said, I was robbed. Oh, we have problem with the delinquency. What they stole your watch or your wallet? Or, no, they stole my elephant. Years later, his brother Miliki, he told me that the policeman want to put the trainer in jail, for making fun of the chief in there. Well, I wrote this piece inspired in the Three Brothers, and they call The Elephant and the Clown. In the occasion of the Van Doren Company commissioned me to write a piece for the double clarinet quartet. So I feel inspired to write that, and I wrote the piece for the double clarinet quartet. But then I orchestrated and was recorded beautifully by the WDR orchestra. That is what it is. And then later on, I asked a very talented painter called Omar Corrales, a Cuban painter who lives in Miami, and said, can you write something about my history with the Aragon brothers? And he painted this beautiful painting that we have there with Gaby, Fofo, y Miliki. This was our tribute to these people that they brought so much love to our country,
Paquito, have you ever composed like for a picture, for a paint, like looking at a paint and then you compose something inspired on that painting?
Yeah, I like lo que llaman las artes plásticas, Always I've been inspired by painters and photographers and all that. But Omar was an inspiration for me, and that's what I wanted to use. One of his images, or many of his images in my pieces. The first one was Dali in the tropics, that he was in our show before. There was a commission of the New Jersey Symphony for Chris Korner, the fantastic principal hornet of the New Jersey Symphony. It's a piece for jazz French horn, which is not very common. Rhythm section, jazz trio, and symphony orchestra. And I asked Omar Corrales to paint something inspired by that image of Dali walking around the tropics and painting there. And that's the other piece that I have there. You see?
Looking at Huapango that was composed in Cuba, and now to the Elephant was composed many years later. What do you think your influence, and how it's your thought of composition back then than now?
Well, the answer for that, my best answer is not mine. It's from Ron Carter. Ron Carter was asked once, who are your main influence? And he said, anyone who plays good. And in my case, my influences are from Chucho Valdez to Benny Goodman to Igor Stravinsky, of course, Charlie Parker, and Ernesto Lecuona is another influence. It's a lot of different people who influence me, as well as the writers. I write, I read all the time. all the time. Now, for example, I am finishing a piece commissioned by the Barcelona clarinet players, a fantastic clarinet group. They commissioned me to to write a piece for them, and the name of the piece is La Sombra del Viento, the shadow of the wind. This el color, La Sombra del Viento is inspired in Carlos Ruiz Zafón, the fantastic novelist who died a couple of months ago in Los Angeles. So yes, I am inspired by painters and writers and everything that has to do with the arts and animals too.
And one more question I just think about, Paquito, is I notice sometimes that in your music, for example, Invitación al Danzón, I can see motives from Bebo's playing the piano. And in this piece, The Elephant and the Clown, I see a lot of Stravinsky, I wouldn't say quotes, but I can hear Stravinsky somehow in that. It's like it's not, it's not Stravinsky, but it's kind of there. It's like when I hear you playing a solo in a string, the Charlie Parker is behind.
Well, the same, that is very common. That happened. I remember many years ago, I was listening to a trumpet player who sounded exactly like Dizzy Gillespie, but the rhythm section was not the bebop rhythm section. And I said, "What is that?" I know most of his session, most of his record, and I don't remember this one. What is it? Is this Dizzy? And at the end, the announcer say the Roy Eldridge Quartet. Dizzy have a great influence of Roy Eldridge, and that doesn't mean that Dizzy don't have his own voice, only that he is influenced by his the guy that he admired. And I have a lot of admiration for Igor Stravinsky.
Paquito, have you ever stolen an orchestration? And I ask because this orchestration is very interesting, and you always tell me about the woodwind quintet, and I just come to my mind. Have you ever stolen? You say, I want this kind of orchestration, and stolen from this part of some composer. Have you ever done that? And can you talk about the orchestration on the Elephant and the Clown?
Oh.
It's very interesting.
Well, I have a very particular format for the symphony orchestra. I don't write the entire symphony. I use my orchestra is a woodwind quintet, but instead of using a horn, I use a tenor saxophone, and then a brass quintet with the French horn, and the other quintet is the string orchestra, 2 violins, violas, and cellos and bass, string quintet. So it's 1, 2, 3 quintets: the woodwind quintet, the string quintet, and the brass quintet. I created that sound, I think.
But I have seen a euphonium too.
Well, for the Elephant and the Clown, I use an euphonium because the piccolo and all that, because I want the sound of a marching band on in the circus. That was it. So I decided to orchestrate this to reduce this piece for this quartet, and I want to dedicate it. I usually in this program we don't talk the political matters, but in this case we want to dedicate this piece to the very brave young artist of the San Isidro movement in Cuba, protesting the Law 349 that is controlling the work of Cuban artists and against all of the atrocities of the Cuban dictatorship against Cuban artists. So for us, our heart and all our support to the San Isidro artists. for them and for all of you, the elephant and the clown.